electromotive forces of comparison of EMFs of two cells using potentiometer. Comparison of electromotive forces of two cells using potentiometer. Using potentiometer. Right. Experiment 3. Listen. Okay, I'm going to start the explanation with the apparatus, right? Then we'll come to the materials, right? Apparatus now with the right. Now, as I told you in the meter reason, right? We should be able to draw and label all parts of a potentiometer as well, right? Why are we using potentiometers? Just asking. What's the benefit or what's the purpose of using a potentiometer over a voltmeter? What is measured by potentiometer? Potential difference, right? To measure potential difference, we have voltmeters as well, and that is a handy instrument, right? When it comes to potentiometer, that is kind of a large setup, right? Table setup. The eye is around 1 meter long, right? 1 meter, 2 meter, 4, 8, they are getting potentiometers there, right? 8 kilometers in one line, 8 gun, now, I still, right? So, what's the benefit of using potentiometer over the voltmeter? Voltmeter. No. Then, and when what reason then? If voltmeter has a finite resistance, it absorbs a potential difference. It absorbs the current. When it absorbs the current, it absorbs the potential difference, right? And even when you are trying to read a potential difference, take a potential difference using a voltmeter. Voltmeter itself absorbs some potential from the source. Right? So therefore, you are never going to read the exact potential difference in between the 2 points you wish to find the potential difference. Right? To eliminate that error, we have potentiometer. To eliminate that error, using potentiometer, when that is balanced, right, that is not going to absorb any kind of potential from the circuit. Circuit can absorb current. Right? That's the main benefit over voltmeter. Right? Pros and cons are making there. Voltmeter is mobile. Right? It's mobile and it's convenient to use. But the accuracy is low. Right? Thermometers are there. Thermometers are there. Right? They can make them there. I car can come with the kind potentiometer increases potentiometers are used to find something with a higher accuracy. Right? Find potential difference with a higher accuracy. Electric wiring, right? Checking whether it's 220 or 230, that is enough. Take a 229.9 doesn't matter. Sensitivity of port, right? That's the thing. Everything potentiometers are they have voltmeters or rather multimeters. Right? Potentiometer, if our focus is accuracy. If our main focus is accuracy, the only option we got is potentiometer. Accuracy replace voltmeter, right? Potentiometer instrument we use right? Keep that in mind. Okay. So when it comes to potentiometer, right? Start the potentiometer from potentiometer wire. Right? Start the potentiometer from potentiometer wire. Potentiometer wire is also labeled as A and B. Standard labels for A and B. Right? It has an accumulator. Right? And a plug key. Right? And if we need a variable resistor, we can fix a variable resistor here also. Right? Depends. That depends. Take a compulsory. If I need a variable resistor, right? Take a compulsory right? Variable resistor because the reason to connect a variable resistor is when the variable resistor is connected, the rheostat is connected, you can easily change the potential difference between potentiometer wire by changing the resistance here. Right? When this changes, K of potentiometer changes. What is K? Potential drop by unit length changes. Right? Now for this purpose, right? This is modified like this. This is modified like this. Right? These two are the two batteries that we are going to compare EMFs of, right? Say E1 and E2. Right? Even though there are internal resistance, that doesn't matter because when we balance this to a battery, there won't be any current flow through the battery. Right? You will see in the next part. Then internal resistance is inactive. Right? Yeah, and here this is a two-way switch. Right? This is a two-way switch. Right? That's a two-way switch. Right? And this part is same as that of the meter bridge, right? Same as the galvanometer in the side heat, right? Now, say the second layer is S1. This is S2. Both are plug case, and variable resistor here is say R dash, E1, E2, right? And this is the safeguard resistor and the zero galvanometer, right? Okay, now what we do is this. Listen. What is the principle of a potentiometer? Right? Now, as the principle of a meter which is itself, right? What is the principle of a potentiometer? Principle of a potentiometer. It works from Ohm's law. EAC equals K, right? EAC equals K. Potential difference is written as potential difference from A to C. C is the balance point, right? Is written as right from the now we are calculating a value called potential drop per unit length of potentiometer. Potential drop per unit length, right? Potentiometer wire is potentiometer wire AB, right? So when current flows in the main circuit, this is a conductor wire. If there is a conductor wire, it has a finite resistance. Right? When current flows, then there is a potential difference. Right? K means potential drop per unit length. Potential drop per unit length that is given by total potential difference across the wire over total length of the wire. Right? Total potential difference across the wire over total length of the wire. As an example, say total potential difference across the potentiometer wire is 10 volts and length of potentiometer wire is 100 meters. Sorry, 100 centimeters, 1 meter. Right? Then potential drop is 0.1 volts. Right? 0.1 per centimeter. That value is called potential drop per unit length. Right? If there is known, when we find a balance point, right? Only explain before jumping into the experiment. Right? This is some background about, right? Just a background about potentiometer. Before starting anything, as we did in meter bridge, you have to keep the side there A and B respectively and check whether galvanometer deflects from one side to the other. Right? If it deflects only, you are going to get a balance point in between. Right? Then find a balance point. After finding balance point, what happens is this. At the balance point, balance means no current flows to galvanometer. Right? If no current flows to galvanometer, right? This is inactive. Since that is inactive, up to here there is the same point. Right? No current flows, no potential drop. Then same potential remains up until here. This is also C. Right? And since this is A, this side is anyway A, this is also A. Right? Now at the balance point, potential drop of this part of the wire is VAC. Potential drop of the wire is VAC. Now using this, we can write it as K times LAC. Because if potential drop per unit length of meter wire is potentiometer wire is known, right? Potentiometer wire is known. Then if this length is known, say you need the potential difference for length of 45 centimeters, then and this VAC across the potentiometer wire is exactly same as potential difference across the device connected here. The device connected here, AC. Right? Then in this case, then this equals to E1. Right? Principal length. This is the principal. Right? This is the principal. Potential drop and potential drop scale potential drop scale using Ohm's law, IR will drop back, right? We're going to do equals IR, equals IR. The principle is Ohm's law. Principle is Ohm's law. DAC equals K, right? You can write potential drop back in here of potentiometer wire using K, right? Now, if this is balanced to the secondary circuit, this is called the below loop secondary circuit, right? Again, sub loop, right? In the secondary circuit, this is AC, right? PAC, and exactly the battery E1 is connected. In this case, right? Now, in this case, E1 equals K LAC, right? So, likewise, you can measure potential difference of that device connected in the secondary circuit using the potentiometer wire, right? Principle, concept, right? And there are similarities, right? There are around like 50%, 60% similarities with meter which are kind of practices same or same. Right? As an instrument that is different, but when we are dealing with sliders and wires, are kind of common practices same, they are same. Right? Okay. Now, what we do is this. Keeping side at A and B and checking whether our centers are defects from one side to the other and make sure whether there's balance point, right? If there's balance point, then by keeping the side B on the potentiometer wire, we are finding the balance point, right? Finding the balance point. And here also, until you find the unbalanced point, switch S2 is open, right? Until you find the unbalanced point, S2 is open, right? Because we have to safeguard this, we have to protect this, right? And then once a balance point is found, then closing S2 to short circuit resistor and let the current flow through this and finding that accurate exact balance point, right? N balance point above. Then at the balance point, say my circuit is connected to here, circuit 2S check, 2S learn, right? Say 2S is connected to here, then it is going to measure the potential difference across cell E1 at the balance point, right? Logic here. At balance point. At balance point. At balance point. What's the current close to galvanometer? What's the current close to galvanometer? 0. If no current flows through galvanometer, there's no current flows through battery as well. And no current flows through this part as well. Right? That's okay. This is current. Right? What about the main loop? Current in the main loop. There's an zero current in the main loop. Main loop is current. Right? Primary circuit, secondary circuit. Right. Now, in this case, let's say balance length obtained for cell E1 is L1. Right? Then, at this point, VAC equals VAC. Maybe VAC equals VAC. And one side can be written using potentiometer wire KL1. If balance length is L1. Right? And the other side using the secondary circuit E1. Right? Repeating the same by connecting this two edges to here, right? Once this is connected to here, this becomes an open circuit, and this point is going to connect here, right? Then this is going to connect with this point. So make a balance then if that balance length is L2 for the E2 for cell E2, then again at the balance point VAC equals VAC using potentiometer KL2 balance to E2. Right? Comparison means just the ratio, finding the ratio. Comparison finding the ratio. Then here K remains unchanged because we didn't change the one cable dependence or no. We didn't change total potential difference of LAB. Wire change to electric change. Potential difference change if you change either accumulator or this rheostat. Right? Make a change K depends only on EAB and LAB. And since K is same, that is same, and L1 and L2 are measurable lengths, right? They are known lengths. Since L1 and L2 are known, right? Here create one node, right? E1 node, E2. That is L1 node, L2. This is called comparison of PM. Right? That's it. The only thing you can say after comparison is, right? The multiple here, right? 2E1 equals 3E2. And then compare it. Right? Over the comparison here. right? Okay, then first mention materials, materials, materials. Right, now material. Right, mention a potentiometer, a potentiometer, a potentiometer, a potentiometer. Right, then a rheostat, a rheostat. Within brackets, optional. Within brackets, optional. Within brackets, optional. An accumulator, an accumulator, an accumulator. Then two plug keys, two plug keys, two plug keys. Then center zero galvanometer, center zero galvanometer. Safeguard resistor, safeguard resistor. Within brackets, about 5 ohms. Within brackets, about 5 ohms. About 5 ohms. Safeguard resistor. About 5 ohms. Then a two-way switch, a two-way switch. Two dry cells, two dry cells. Two dry cells, two dry cells. Then side A, and finally, all connecting wires, connecting wires. Only the connecting wires are there. Right, okay. Then apparatus, 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 apparatus. Take it down. Apparatus के लिए तो take down the apparatus. Make sure all parts are properly connected. Right? Connections are in electricity always you have to know the connections. Connections is know the negative ways which negative ways which Russia you just need to know the connection. Connection right? Example, circuit diagram always understand the connection. This is connected to this is connected to this. Right? More Samanada measure right? The papers are negative and Samanada measure right? These things are given just as the physical appearance. Physical instrument physical devices they can do no circuit diagram physically right? Last always, that's why you have to know the connection. Connections are okay, paste. Alright, so what I understand then theory. 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 Right now, if potential drop for theory, if potential drop for unit length of if potential drop for unit length of if potential drop for unit length of potentiometer wire is K. If potential drop for unit length of potentiometer wire is K. Put a comma and takes down A equals VAB over LAB. A equals VAB over LAB. Right? Next point. Next point. If potential drop, potential difference, if potential difference, if potential difference between A and C, between A and C of potentiometer wire, of potentiometer wire is VAC, is VAC, is VAC. Put a comma, then write this down. VAC equals K times LAC. VAC equals K times LAC. VAC equals K times LAC. VAC equals L times K times LAC. Right? And level is as principle of potentiometer. Right? Hold on, principle of potentiometer. Okay. Then find out. Find out. If balance length for cell E1, if balance length for cell E1, if balance length for cell E1, if balance length for cell E1 is L1, is L1. And within brackets, when two-way switch is connected with E1, when two-way switch is connected with E1, when two-way switch is connected with E1, right? Mention this. At balance point, VAC equals VAC, KL1 equals E1, right? KL1 equals E1. Maybe right. At balance point, VAC equals VAC, KL1 equals E1. Right? E1 का balance length दिल्ली balance length का है L1 क्या हो गया हम L1 नहीं ना चाहिए क्या बात कर this is L right this is L at LAC right the potential drop across this part equals to potential drop here because they are same points same potentials right then this is E1 from the secondary circuit right and KL1 from the potentiometer wire from the main circuit right next point if balance length 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 for cell E2 for cell E2 for cell E2 is for cell E2 is L2 for cell E2 is L2 within brackets connect two-way switch with E2. 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 Right, again, right now at balance point, at balance point, at balance point, right? Now only this part. VAC equals VAC, KL2 equals E2. VAC equals VAC, KL2 equals E2. Right? Here, KL2 equals E2, VAC equals VAC, KL2 equals E2. Right? Then this. Therefore, therefore, 1 over 2 is E1 over E2 equals L1 over L2. Right? Right. Then method. 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 Right. First thing is you have to have all proper connections, right? Proper connections. It was a T going to be a kilometer current load, right? Find out what's going. Set up the circuit. Set up the circuit. Set up the circuit. As discussed under apparatus. Set up the circuit as discussed under apparatus. Set up the circuit as discussed under apparatus. Right. Second point. Close switch S1. Close switch S1 and keep S2 open. And keep S2 open. Make keep S1 switch S1 close and keep S2 open. And keep the slider key at A and B respectively. Keep the slider key at A and B respectively. At A and B respectively. And check whether galvanometer deflects from one side to other passing zero. And check whether galvanometer deflects from one side to other passing zero. Whether galvanometer what? Galvanometer deflects from one side to other passing zero. Right? Within brackets, no balance point is obtained. Within brackets, no balance point is obtained. No balance point is obtained. If deflection is only at one side. If deflection is only at one side. If deflection is only at one side, right? Okay. Next. Keep the slider key on potentiometer wire. Keep the slider key and keep the slider key and then on keep the slider key on potentiometer wire. Keep the slider key on potentiometer wire. Keep the slider key on potentiometer wire. On potentiometer wire. And find a rough balance point. And find a rough balance point. And find a rough balance point. Alright, then the virus is closed. Right, over item team loading, over structure delay, and the one, right. Then right on. Close S2, close S2, close S2, close S2. And find the accurate balance point. closest to and find the accurate balance point. Measure and record. Measure and record. Measure and record. Measure and record. Balance length obtained 4. Measure and record. Balance length obtained 4. Measure and record. Balance length obtained 4. E1 and E2. Measure and record. Balance length obtained 4. E1 and E2. Within brackets L1 and L2. Within brackets L1 and L2. Next. Compare E1 and E2. Compare E1 and E2 as discussed under the heading. Compare E1 and E2 as discussed under the heading. Compare E1 and E2 as discussed under the heading. Right. Okay, experiment here. Here was sitting on background. They were doing right about potentiometer. Right. Right. The experiment here again. There is another experiment coming from potentiometer and these background things. Right. Make a study here. Other than that, there are like 80% 90% of things they are common to any potentiometer. Right. They practices. They are and they are common for the next experiment also. Right. Remarks. 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 Right. First one. Right. Listen. Now, what if we are going to compare? What if you are going to compare E1 and E2 without using a potentiometer? Right? Potentiometer use correct? If we try to compare E1 and E2 without using a potentiometer, so if you are not using a potentiometer, how to find E1? Have to connect a voltmeter across two ends of the cell. Right? Voltmeter connect there is a current flows to voltmeter by the cell. Right? Right? Easily make voltmeter voltmeter reading again. Right? Because there is a current flows through the cell at that point. Right? And the voltmeter at that point. Current flow. Right? We should be able to take this reading when there is no current to the battery. Right? Otherwise, our first experiment when a current goes to the battery, E equals E minus IR. Right? When current is zero only, potential difference equals E. Right? That's the state we use here. Right? Then we have to make sure that there is no current flows. The potentiometer we can use not to work. Right? First point, write down. Potentiometer is used. Potentiometer is used. Potentiometer is used. Potentiometer is used to accurately measure EMF. To accurately measure EMF. To accurately measure EMF without drawing a current through cell. Without drawing a current through cell. Right, listen. Next point. If we didn't get the deflection from one side to the other, right? There can be several reasons. First step one, loose connections, right? Loose connection. Now here there are some other reasons. If E1 of this cell is greater than E node, right? Because from the E node, VAB supplied to the potentiometer wire, right? E node part and VAB. If this potential difference is, if this EMF is greater than E node, right? This potential difference can never be balanced by the total length even of the potentiometer wire. If 10 volts here, if you have connected the EMF of 20 here, it is not going to balance the wire. But in that case, your deflection is only at one side. Then in that case, there is only at one side. Right? Or else, we have a potentiometer. Right? If this is improperly connected, plus to minus or minus to plus. Right? Again, what is it? Positive terminal of potentiometer wire. That positive terminal of this battery should be connected. Item positive connected. Positive, negative, positive, negative. Right? If you have switched these two also, right? There can be a single sided deflection. Right? For the reasons. The area check right? Next point, right? If parameter does not deflect from one side to other. If parameter does not deflect from one side to other. Which can be due to 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 following reasons. Which can be due to following reasons. Major reasons. First one, loose connections. First one, loose connections. First one, loose connections. Second one, having a higher EMF. Having a higher EMF. For the cells. Having a higher EMF for the cells. In second disaggregate. Having a higher EMF for the cells. In second disaggregate. Having a higher EMF. For the cells. In the second disaggregate. Right, next one. Next reason. Terminals of cells. Terminals of cells. Reasons from here. Third reason, terminals of cells can be switched and connected improperly. Can be switched and connected improperly. Within brackets plus to minus. Right, next. Alright, we don't have to care about internal resistance of these batteries as no current flows through the cell. Right? When no current flows, internal resistance is inactive. Does not matter. There is inactive. Here, right, next point. Internal resistance of cells. Next point. Internal resistance of cells. Are not involved. Since they are inactive. When there's no current through the battery or through the cell. When there's no current through the cell. Right? Dan නැත්තම් මේක මෙන්ෂන් කරලා ගන්න දන්නවනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. These are logic I mentioned. Right? Dan නැත්තම් විතරක් කොහොමද යාර. Right, next. Right, listen. If we need high accuracy, right? This can be developed to a graphical method, right? Corner current below. High accuracy corner. Then we right? That's how we do. But if we need high accuracy, okay, standard can work. Extensions, experiments, right? whether he can use a graphical method, of course he can use graphical method use කරන්න පුළුවන්. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Right? If you are using graphical method, right, what we have to do is then we have to adjust from the rheostat here, variable resistor here, and find minimum 6 different balance points. Right? E1 balance points. no, E2 R. Right? graph එකක් ඇදලා යන්න පුළුවන්. Right? අපිට දාලා නැහැ but it is doable. It is doable. Right? As the next point, just mention this. This can be extended to a graphical method. 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 Right? Taking experimented කරන්න නැහැ. graphical method එකෙන් පුළුවන් කියලා මේක තියෙනවා. ඒක experimented කරන්න නැහැ. But always there can be questions about that also. Right now, graph එක හදලා දෙන්නම් නම්. graph එක මේක දීලා නැහැ. graph එක හදන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක mix එකක් එන්නේ. Then getting අපිට මේක ගන්නවා. What I said, this extended killer. This can be extended to a graphical method by changing the variable resistor. By changing the variable resistor for minimum of 6 different instances. For minimum of 6 different instances. For minimum of 6 different instances. Right? Right? Then from this equation from above, right? We know even though E2 equals, right? L1 no L2, right? Now for a given value of k right? For a given value of r, so for a given value of k, you have to have a then we are going to change L1 and L2, right? Resistance is 10 ohms, you are getting L1 and L2. For 20, again L1 and L2. They are different values. For 30 ohms, L1 and L2 are over there. 6 different points, right? And plot L2 with L1. Then L2 is given by E2 over E1 L1. Now if you plot the graph, right? L2 with L1, make a 6 coulomb, right? That is why equals and gives. And gradient of graph gives comparison. Right? E2 over E1 and E1 over E2 on the other. Right? This is also extendable. Right? That is extendable. Right. One more thing. Without using a rheostat, it is asked whether we can use a resistor box for the other. Make a resistor box and use it. Right. Again, resistor box and use it. Do we need to continuously change this? Do we need to continuously change it from point to point? No. What are the set? So even a resistor box is possible. Right? Here they are next point. Either resistor box or rheostat. Either a resistor box or rheostat. Can be used as a variable resistor for this experiment. Right. Now here also, now if you need to make sure, right, if you need to make sure, right, whether the accumulator is discharged, right? So simply, if you need to make sure whether K of this potentiometer is changed, Because if K changes, everything changes. K cancel right? And if you need to check whether K is changed throughout the experiment, right? K depends on the area and LAD, right? What you can do is we can take the initial reading again. Right? You can take the initial reading again at the end of the experiment and check whether it is tallying with the initial reading, right? If there is a drop value from the initial reading, which means accumulator is discharged considerably. The accumulator higher than anything, you replace color higher. Right? Last point. Last point. To check whether, to check whether, to check whether K of potentiometer, to check whether K of potentiometer, to check whether K of potentiometer, to check whether K of potentiometer has changed during the experiment, has changed during the experiment, has changed during the experiment, has changed during the experiment. Take the initial, take the initial reading again. Take the initial reading again and compare it. Take the initial reading again and compare it. Take the initial reading again and compare it. Right. That's it. Let's see what is given here. Is closed while table is kept open. Right, over the switches can on it. Switch take open करना तो switches can on it. यार ये तो रंगी नोट. Can do is essentially one thing is by starting the criteria now. Okay. Right. Not after setting up the circuit, the E1 is closed and the circuit is tested by connecting the two-way switch to either of the cells E1 or E2 and touching by slider switch. Then the galvanometer doesn't show when we got one Q up, but this is not the important part. The galvanometer doesn't show deflections in opposite directions. On the two occasions, the circuit is erroneous, right? The galvanometer deflection is in the same direction on both sides. So remedial reasons instead of connecting the positive terminal of cells to switching terminals, there could be a loose connection, right? Loose connection right? Loose connection in any circuit, board circuit loose connection it's a common one. Potentiometer is discharged and hence electronic force is less than those even active. Even also the galvanometer shows no deflection when the sliding contact the others A and B, the wires test whether the disconnections. Right. Listen, if galvanometer shows no deflection at all, when you keep slide at A and B, right? Galvanometer shows no deflection at all. Center zero, right? Center zero indicator, center zero, right? You know anything? Disconnection, not loose connections. It should be a disconnection, right? Disconnection and people right? And right? Open circuit idea if there is no current flows, it must be an open circuit. Open circuit disconnect. Right? Right? If there is no deflection at all, that's a disconnection. The ratio of electronic forces, right? Negative one. Right, because potentiometers with wires of different lengths are available, right? Starting from 1 meter, 2 meters, 1 meter, right? 1, 2, 4, 8, right? 4 on the end, 4 is potentiometer. I think you have been in questions, right? Question to zero, right? This is how that wire is, right? We 400 meters, 400 centimeters, 4 meters. Right, so likewise, which wire is potentiometer wire is connected to the board. If we need a higher length, what's the benefit when we have a higher length? Higher length means lesser K, right? Here now in K equals VAB over LAB. higher the length, lesser the gain. Lesser K means that is highly sensitive, right? Lesser gain. Potential drop by unit length is less, right? Which means, especially when you are measuring a small potential difference using potentiometer, right? Is there experiment का तीन this से क्या लेंगे आएगा 90%. मैं एक मंग right? Using measuring small potential differences using potentiometer by connecting other resistance is combination with the potentiometer, right? If the length is increased, K decreases. When K decreases, even if you measure a small potential difference using this, a considerably high length is coming as the balance length. But K K product K not. Now make a logical, right? Then percentage of readings are high even if you measure, even when you measure small potential difference, right? And make whether bias to have a error study. Because even this has an interaction, even though we have integrated. Corrections from theorem. Correction can integrate made total at the right? Centimeter per 1 centimeter correction and integrate. But for a value like 50, 60 centimeters of balance length, right? Neglecting correction of say 1 centimeter, 0.1 centimeters, that is kind of reasonable, right? Right. It says these lengths 2 meters, 8 meters, so on. So essentially we concerned about the lengths of potentiometer wires when measured by people. Right. Again, when you measure by the meter ruler, right? Right. Say the slider is here and point A is here. Point A is here, B is here. Then the potentiometer, right? May I replace them? I replace 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is 4 meters. Then here 400 meters potentiometer is a 400 meter potentiometer. Right? Say you have got the balance point. Say you have got the balance point here. You got the balance point here. Right? And from the meter scale, from the meter scale, you read this value as, right? You read this value as, let's say, right? You read this value as, say, 40 meters, 40 centimeters, right? Now what's the balance length? I need LAC, but I need LAC. A is here, 100, 200, never 260. Never. Unnever. I can't tell him A to, but I need is the length from A to C. A to C. Make a 40 then the 60. Then it comes as 260 centimeters. Right. So likewise, you have to be able to be conscious and mindful. If that's a case, 100 meters, 100 centimeters, then easily going to blow. Right? You come a meter scale and bent the product. Yeah, we go. Is it clear? Right? That's 40 kilos, 40. I mean, that's the thing. What you are reading is 40. What you are reading is 40. Right? Balance like 49. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Clear? Addition? Clear? You know what? Online? Any questions? Okay. Because we are going to take a break. So we take a break. Any questions? Yeah. Right. Then no questions. We'll have a break. Right? We'll have a break. This is the grade 1.